Hello, welcome to audiences in the UK and around the world. We're covering all the latest COVID-19 developments here in Britain and globally. Let's start in the UK, where more than 30,000 people are now known to have died with COVID-19. First, let's turn to those updated figures for the UK. The head of the UK Health Select Committee, Jeremy Hunt, put the numbers to the Deputy Chief Medical Officer for England, Dr. Jenny Harries, a few moments ago, and asked why the UK has, along with Spain and Italy, a higher number of deaths compared to countries such as Germany and South Korea. Well, that was Dr. Jenny Harries. Now our head of statistics, Robert Cuff, is with me. Robert, every week we get the figures from the Office for National Statistics, and every week they're equally shocking. Just bring us up to date with the latest that they have said about the number of COVID-19 deaths. The Iranian airline may have played a central role in spreading COVID-19 from China across the Middle East. An investigation by BBC News Arabic has found that Mahan Air, which is linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guard, continued to fly to and from China and is believed to have taken the first COVID-19 infections to Iraq and Lebanon. The airline did not respond to the BBC's request for comment. Nawal Al-Maghafi has this report. This morning, the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, told the BBC that by downloading the app, the public would be helping the government figure out exactly where the virus. He also addressed concerns about the amount of information the app would store once it had been downloaded. Well, the Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer, told the BBC he hoped the app would work, but said it was important the government also increased traditional tracing methods. Obvious questions to ask when there are discussions around effectively issuing immunity passports, because you can see the possibility there for effectively a two-tier system panning out for workers. They're raising the questions. Are they coming up with answers to these issues? Ireland's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has taken part via video link in a COVID-19 meeting of the Australian Cabinet, where they discussed restoring travel between the two countries. Jacinda Ardern told journalists there'd be no open borders with the rest of the world for some time to come, that they are looking at whether they can establish something between New Zealand and Australia. Under the proposal, movement between the two countries would be allowed without a 2-week quarantine period.
At the outset of this, it's important to point out that the brand Defendol are not selling this online, nor are Amazon. It is
people buying it at that price. I guess we can't
tell if people are buying it, but it's there, it's online. For these coming from UK sellers, and they were also lots of people were selling them from China and from Italy, interestingly, two of the places that have been worst affected, reduced. Now, we asked all of them for a response as to why they were doing it. We only got one from a company called Quality Better Value. Birthday twice.
We're all getting sick of happy birthday.
We are. We are.
Well, I mean, it's the subject everybody is talking about. Loads of comments coming in from you on this. Carol on text. People scaremongering. As long as you have access to washing facilities, then just keep washing your hands. Sanitizer will not stop you getting the virus. Yes, it will help, but just act sensibly. Steve on Twitter, I didn't panic buy, but have increased weekly shopping of tinned and dried goods and cereals, etc. since I saw the outbreak getting out of control in mid-January, just in case there'd be panic buying. I stopped a few weeks ago. Fatima on text, I paid £13 for alcoholic gel on Amazon. I'm afraid that's reasonable, as eBay has a higher price. Thank you for those. Keep them coming in. Also coming up on the correspondent, Frank Gardner, is here. Extraordinary detail that has come through these family court hearings, Frank. What does it say about what's been going on behind closed doors? Till she's free, do you believe she will be free one day? Tina Yahyanian, a friend of Princess Latifah, in a statement issued after the judgments were published, Sheikh Mohammed said, "This case concerns highly personal and private matters relating to our children. The appeal was made to protect the best interests and welfare of the children. The outcome does not protect my children from media attention in the way that other children in family proceedings in the UK are protected. As a head of government, I was not able to participate in the court's fact-finding process. This has resulted in the release of a fact-finding judgment, which inevitably only tells one side of the story." Dozens of airline routes which connect the UK's regions could be left without services after the collapse of Flybe. Scotland's Loganair has committed to maintaining 16 routes, but many smaller airports still face gaping holes in their schedules. Flybe was Europe's largest regional operator and went into administration early on Thursday after a bid for fresh financial support failed. The impact of the collapse will go well beyond the thousands of Flybe employees, with unions warning another 2,000 jobs could be affected for those who work in airports and connected industries. And our Action Line website is bbc.co to bring you on coronavirus. Philip on Twitter, I've been waiting 5 days for my 12-year-old son and me to be tested with no news from the NHS and no update when we call 111. They say my wife and younger son are fine to go out and about as normal, but my wife received terrible abuse when people heard she was not at home. Lorraine on email says, went shopping yesterday. I was accused of stockpiling when I bought a large pack of loo rolls. I would just like to say, she says, I had one loo roll left in my house and I bought the offer which the supermarket was selling at, which we always buy to save money. Stockpile vigilantes need to get a grip. Chris on text, due to ill health, I normally get a supermarket delivery on Sunday morning. This week they're fully booked until next Tuesday tea time. They've sold out of toilet rolls, Dettol and wipes. Helen on Twitter, I'm not buying hand sanitizer. People are daft. I already had a Brexit box of basic food items that I added to every week last year. And an anonymous texter, supermarkets should be taking responsibility and limiting the amount of products you can buy so that everyone has a chance to obtain essentials, i.e. 2 packs of loo rolls, 2 packs of pasta. Now, more than 700 migrants have arrived on the Greek island of Lesbos in less than a week since Turkey opened its borders to refugees desperate to reach Europe. There's been local hostility towards the new arrivals, with Greek coastguards firing rubber bullets into the air to try to stop them landing. Thousands of migrants and refugees are already on the island, many living in squalid, overcrowded camps. Last night, 42 people arrived on one boat, mainly women and children, the first boatload for several days. Well, that was the minute silence that has been observed across the country, and a round of applause to mark the end of it, paying tribute to all of those key workers who have lost their lives during this crisis so far. A rising number of deaths linked to COVID-19 in care homes across the UK has pushed the overall numbers dying with the virus to a record high, according to the latest figures. There were 24,686 total deaths registered in the UK in the week of the Easter bank holiday. That's 12,832, or 108% above the expected number of deaths for this time of year. The Office for National Statistics says there were 4,343 deaths involving COVID-19 in care homes in England and Wales up until the 24th of April, a figure that trebled in the space of 3 weeks. Nick Stripe is head of health analysis for the Office for National Statistics. He explained how many people are dying in the community, for example in care homes and at home. Well, that was Nick Stripe of the Office for National Statistics. The latest figures for COVID-19 deaths in England and Wales, compiled by the Office for National Statistics, are 35% higher than the total for the same period published by Public Health England and Public Health Wales. Here's the BBC's head of statistics, Robert Cuff, to explain what that means. Party leader Sir Keir Starmer about the number of care workers who have died, and there was no answer to that. We do now have a figure, and the figure is, I must just find it here, it's 16 social care workers. Is that the latest figure as far as you understand, whose lives have been lost? And they mustn't be forgotten, and that's what's important. 18 of the residents have died. One of the issues that she raised was that of the residents who are stuck in their rooms are effectively atrophying because they are unable to socialise. Their faculties are not being used, and therefore inevitably it's going to be causing them problems. Those are the sorts of issues that are going to cause, the really long tail to all of this. How concerned are BBC News? Now it's time for a look at the weather with Matt Taylor. Hello and welcome to audiences in the UK and around the world. In Westminster, the second virtual Prime Minister's Questions is about to get underway. My colleague Jo Coburn is in bench. Well, while we were on Prime Minister's Questions, the First Minister of Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon, has been holding her daily coronavirus briefing in Edinburgh. This is some of what she's been saying.
We've been hurt, a lot of people were confused. My instinct was to help people. I'd seen him that day. In the same workshops and stuff in the conference.
because of your crimes for which you were convicted, you are out on a lifetime licence, and that means for you, you're on probation forever at the moment. How does that impact on you, and where do you... That's Gareth Evans, who was at the Fishmongers Hall terror attack, talking about rehabilitation as well. A Ministry of Justice spokesman has said the public expects serious criminals to spend time behind bars, but we are determined to continue improving rehabilitation and drive down reoffending, which costs taxpayers £15 billion a year. That's why we're investing £2.75 billion improving prisons, training 800 new probation officers, and have recruited 4,400 prison officers since 2016. Now, the High Court has just ruled that allegedly transphobic tweets from a former police officer were lawful, and Humberside Police interfered with his right to freedom of expression. Harry Miller from Lincolnshire challenged police guidance on hate incidents against transgender people after he was officially logged for comments he made on social media. Mr. Miller claims the guidelines issued by the College of Policing have had a chilling effect on freedom of expression. Let's bring in our legal eagle, Clive Coleman, at the High Court. Clive, tell us